Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Stephen Kirch, who is going to be talking about his business growth model at ProfitMinds, LLC. Stephen, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Mike. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hey, so give us a little bit of your background. What led you to found your company, ProfitMinds? And then we'll kind of dive into what you do.
Well, it's actually kind of an interesting circuitous route. I actually have a PhD in physics and spent 30 years in high tech. The last 22 of them were at a little company here in California called Intel. Some people may have heard of that one. And I was a number of different positions in leadership there. But a few years into the time at Intel, I was took the class from Franklin Covey Company, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I found it personally just transformational. And when I was offered the opportunity to become a certified facilitator of that material and help with the rollout, I put up my hand. And so I've actually been a certified facilitator of the 7 Habits for over 20 years. And so as I looked toward, my future life post-Intel, what people sometimes call retirement, I thought it would be fun because I had a great time teaching that class all over the world for Intel. I thought it would be really fun to hang out a shingle and become a coach and help people figure out how to get stuff done. So I've been doing that for 4.5 years, and about a year ago, I came across a system that really helped my business to explode, and that was the impetus for ProfitMinds. One of the challenges when you talk to a small business owner is they don't really understand the value of an hour of their time. So if I tell them I'm going to get them an hour of their time back, they don't know what that's worth. And so they didn't know the value that I was bringing them as a coach. And now with the ProfitMinds system, where I can sit down with any small business owner and in 45 minutes find $30,000 to $50,000 in untapped revenue, or even more, for really literally any small business, that gets their attention. And now we know what we're going to work on when we find that extra hour of their time.
Well, I think that's now when you say claim, and is that, can you go so far as to say I guarantee I can find 30 to 50, or is that just what you've seen as a good average?
No, I will guarantee it.
Wow, that's pretty substantial.
And in fact, most of the time I sit down with a small business owner, and in an hour or so we'll find business opportunities that are north of $100,000.
Wow. So if someone is hearing 30 to 50 to 100 or whatever, those numbers are, what are some of the most common places you're finding this kind of like, plugging up holes in the bucket kind of, so to speak, but what are some of the low-hanging fruit that you're finding?
Well, what's really interesting is most small business owners, they get into their business because they're really good at what they do, not because they're good business people, not because they understand how to run a business. And in fact, most of them spend all of their time working in their business and very little time working on it. And so this is basic blocking and tackling, marketing strategies, making sure that you have clearly identified your unique selling proposition or a market dominating position that is clearly laid out in all of your marketing materials, that you're properly utilizing any kind of referrals that you might get either from past clients or from referral partners. I like to say, this is not rocket science.
Yeah.
I have a PhD in physics. I know what rocket science is. This is not rocket science. It's basic blocking and tackling in business growth. So it's getting more leads. It's figuring out how to turn those leads into clients. It's maximizing the value of every one of your clients, properly pricing your products, and then looking at how you spend your money and how those revenues turn into profits and wind up in your pocket.
Are you finding that most of your opportunities you're finding are like, here's where you can make more income, or here's where you can save where money is flowing out of your business?
Well, we start because I like to get my clients results very, very quickly. We usually start with expenses. How many times I've sat down with a business owner who hasn't looked at his credit card bill or her credit card bill in 6 months, and they're leaking cash. There's this program that they signed up for because entrepreneurs love to chase shiny objects. There's a program they signed up for 6 months ago they haven't actually used. And it can be $30 or $50 here or there, or it can be, hundreds of dollars. And that money drops straight into the pocket of the small business owner. So I usually start with a review of expenses. Money. Exactly. So usually I start there. Filling your pipeline takes a little longer to get results, but that's where we go next.
What are you finding are some of the specific things that you are saying, okay, well, now when we go next to find revenue, what are some of the obvious choices that are working?
So, again, most marketing materials that small business owners put out talk about what a great job they do in their business, how they are reliable and they're friendly and they're, they do a great job. What they don't talk about is the problem that they're solving for their customers. And we find that marketing material, to be effective, needs to interrupt the conversation that's going on in the head of the prospect. What is the problem that they have that keeps them up at night? What's the result that they want but they don't have? And how does your marketing material address that specific problem? How does your solution connect that problem with that result? And when you do that,
really big
people start to call you.
Bring up about problems because, I'm sure you watch Shark Tank like everyone else, and so many times you hear people go, yeah, but this is not really investable because what problem are you solving? And that's a big thing, right?
Absolutely. It's central to the story that you have to create if you're really going to connect with a potential prospect. We use a thing that's called the conversion equation, and it's the interrupt. That's the headline of the marketing material. What's the problem that they have that they don't want? Then there's a connect, a piece where you offer them a glimpse into the result that they want but don't have. Then you educate. And then you offer. So you have to walk through each of those things and take the potential buyer on a journey.
Do you have any specific, because when you say journey, that piques my interest because I teach marketing and I'm always talking about the buyer's journey. And even working with my clients, I'm teaching them, you must know the questions and steps that your prospects go through in their buyer's journey to make the buying decision for you. And it's not just the FAQs. It's not just like, oh, well, what is the whatever. It's a specific set of pillar type questions. What do you teach your clients to do to develop that for their business?
Well, it does. It starts with what is the problem you're trying to solve? What's the value that you bring? People don't buy based on price as much as we talk about that. They buy based on value. They want to buy based on value. So what's the value that you're bringing? What's the problem that you're solving? Why should they buy this? And then, of course, they also are going to have objections. Why should they not buy this? They're going to have concerns. Is this the right thing? Is it the right price? How do I know it's going to actually solve my problem? Right? And they have to do all of that stuff well before they get to the point where they're actually choosing a vendor.
Yeah.
So if your website says, call me, and doesn't do any of the other stuff, unless somebody's really desperate, they're not going to make that call.
It reminds me of a story. You might have heard this before. It's kind of fictional and funny, but it makes the point, which is there's these two farmers, and the one farmer walks up to the porch of the other farmer and starts chatting with him, and this big old hound dog is laying there on the porch, and he raises his head every once in a while and howls and puts his head back down, and they keep talking, and every few minutes he just raises his head up and howls, and the one farmer goes, "Why is your dog howling every few minutes?" And he goes, "Oh, he's laying on a nail." And he goes, "Well, how come he doesn't move?" And he goes, "Well, it just doesn't hurt him bad enough yet." Well, isn't that what you just said? It's like if the problem's there, but it's not really, so apparent that it's, devastating or making you want to take action, then you haven't described to your target audience their problem enough and showing that you're the solution.
That's absolutely correct.
So what is your best way that you would recommend getting that kind of recognition of the target audience's problems so that the prospect realizes that you have that solution?
Ask your current clients.
Oh yeah.
Ask your current customers. Why did you buy? Go ask them for testimonials. And say, what was it that sparked you to make this decision? Why and how happy are you? Obviously, you want to make sure that they're ecstatic about your solution. But why is it that you ultimately made the decision to buy this thing from me? And take notes. And record them on Zoom, because in this day and age, everybody talks to everybody on Zoom. Take advantage of that. Record it. Put it out as a video testimonial on your website. This is the greatest thing since sliced bread. If you have customers saying that, it's much better than if you say it.
It's really interesting. You mentioned, it sounds so obvious. Like just ask them. And these are your customers, and I know that there's books and courses put out there about, like a survey or an ask campaign. But it reminds me back of Seth Godin's book called Tribes, and one of the takeaways from that book is, if you just wrap your arms around your tribe, your clients, your prospects, your target audience, enough that they know you, like you, trust you. And then when you ask, like, hey, what would you like to see improve, change, whatever in the product or service, then your target audience is going, we would love, and then you can't make every change, but if you can tweak and fine tune and make those changes, then now you've got a ready source of buyers because they already are in your network.
Oh, absolutely. Prior clients, current customers, however you describe them, are clearly your best source of additional business. And if you can come up with a product or a way of improving your product that would cause them to buy again, wow, that's so much easier than trying to get a new client or a new customer. And of course, they're also an excellent referral source. Who else do you know that might have this kind of problem or might be interested in this kind of service? So we take advantage of that as well as a part of our program. You would go to current clients and ask them for referrals. In fact, sometimes I even try to set that up before I start. If I'm going to do a coaching engagement, I might say to the client, hey, if this really works out, I'd like you to think of a couple of people that you think might benefit from this. And when we get to the end of our engagement, or when we get 6 months in and you're getting incredible results, then it's easy for me to come in and say, oh, we talked early on about the possibility of you making a couple of recommendations. Have you thought of a couple of people? So there are all kinds of ways that we work with our clients to make sure that they are building their business not just for the short term, but really building a business that will have a long-lasting growth. Taking those businesses for many of the small business owners, they're just a glorified job. They can't even really take a vacation because they're the person that does all of the really critical work. And so if they disappear for 2 weeks, or they're filling the pipeline, or whatever it is that they do, right? They're so critical that if they go away for 2 weeks, it falls apart. That's not a business. That's a job.
You're exactly right. And I think that's a whole other conversation for a different time, because that's now how to delegate, how to outsource, and how to take yourself out of the equation, all of that. But let's just wrap up with this question. What is the thing that separates you? What's your competitive advantage? I know, other than, let's find 30 to 50,000 in opportunity, but what else is it that an entrepreneur would see that makes you different?
Well, so the thing that makes ProfitMinds different is anybody can come up with a strategy. The hard part is finding the time and the making the habit of working on your business and not just working in it. And so the thing that we do at ProfitMinds that makes us unique is not only do we come up with the strategy, but we will help you find the time to implement it. Most small business owners, like hundreds of thousands of people that have been asked by the Franklin Covey Company, spend 30 to 40% of their time on stuff that's just not that important. Well, if you're working a 10-hour day, that says 3 or 4 hours of your time is working on stuff that's just not that important. You've got to figure out how to say no to that and how to say yes to the stuff that's more important, and building your business and bringing in additional revenue and making more profits. That's what should drive those decisions. So it's those implementation habits that we help our clients develop that set us apart from any other business growth strategists.
Because I believe that, and we'll just kind of put a cherry on the top of that thought, which when you say that, it reminds me of the little kind of fun pun of, knowledge is power. People go, yeah, knowledge is power. No, knowledge is potential power. You got to do something with it. So, you can know things. You can show them the plan to 30, 40, 50,000. Look at this. You can save money here, make money here. And there it is, $38,427. Yay. And then if you just let it sit and don't do anything with it, what good was it? So implementation, finding the time to implement, finding the motivation to implement, all of that. So that's a really, really great point.
Yeah. And I've spent 20 years teaching people how to do that.
Neat. Well, Stephen, thank you so much for coming on. It was really awesome hearing about your business. What's the best way people can reach out with you, find out about upcoming events or podcasts or books or programs that you offer?
Well, so I would say go to ProfitMinds.net. That's our website. You can download a free copy of my ebook, Mind Your Profits. It lays out some of those strategies that I talked about here, the primary strategies that we use to help our clients find that $30,000 to $50,000 in untapped revenue. So that's one way. Also, you can go there if you do ProfitMinds.net/workshops. You will see upcoming workshops. I offer a free 1-hour workshop on implementing these strategies, and these are no BS kind of workshops where you'll get some specific strategies that you can implement in your business to help it grow. So those are probably the best ways.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, thanks again, and I'll make sure that these links are in the show notes. Thanks for coming on, Stephen. Really appreciate your time.
Mike, thank you very much. Really enjoyed it.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.